I'm Shawn.
And I'm Mike, and you're listening to
Shawn and Mike Take a Hike.
Welcome to another episode of Shawn and Mike Take a Hike. What do you want to talk about today, Shawn?
Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite things about hiking. Today I would like to talk about trail mix. It is one of my absolute favorite parts of hiking, as we have talked about in the past. And so I thought maybe we could talk about, I know it's kind of a lot to have like a whole episode dedicated to trail mix, but like there's a lot of different ways to do trail mix. So I thought maybe we could talk about like what are some of the options. Turns out you don't just have to go to the store to buy it. You can make your own.
Well, because, I mean, personally, I don't like a lot of the store-bought trail mixes because I don't like raisins or dried apricots or anything like that, like cranberries or whatever the crap they put in them, the little fruit things. So I don't really like all of that because, as we mentioned before, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, and I don't eat a lot of fruits or veggies. So I don't like a lot of the prepackaged trail mix, but I don't want to take just a packet of peanuts or just a packet of almonds or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So I like some sweets and things like that. So I had found a trail mix that was perfect. It had peanuts, cashews, almonds, all sorts of stuff. It had sunflower seeds. It had I think little mini peanut butter cups.
Mm-hmm.
It had all sorts of stuff. So you had your sweet, you had your savory, you had your salt, you had protein, you had all this stuff. But because those little peanut butter cups is just bare chocolate, no coating on it, it just got real melty and turned into like a candy bar in a plastic bag that really was hard to eat.
Yeah.
And your hands got covered with chocolate.
Now, in all fairness, it was delicious.
Oh, it was
even all melted together, it was still delicious.
It was still delicious. Just a mess and kind of a pain. So I stopped buying that and I started making my own.
Yes.
So
I think the majority of what we are going to talk about today, I want to talk mainly about like the make it your own stuff. But before we get away from the store-bought stuff, like I am probably going to shit on store-bought trail mix quite a bit in this episode, but I do want to have a disclaimer up front that I do like store-bought trail mix. Like, you can buy the individual packages of it, which are great for portion control. You know, it is or can be cheaper to buy the store-bought stuff because, like, you don't have to buy so much of stuff. Like, you can buy just what you're going to need for that trip. And there's like a ton of varieties for the store-bought stuff. So if you don't like raisins, for example, well, get one with craisins in it, or get one with dried apricots in it, or whatever. Or if you don't like sunflower seeds, they make one with pumpkin seeds, or they make one with just peanuts, or whatever. So I think the bulk of this conversation today is going to be like about homemade stuff. Mm-hmm. But there is a place for store-bought stuff in this conversation, too. Like, if you have a store-bought kind that you like, get that. Like, if that's what works for you, get that. It's easier. It's convenient. Mm-hmm. It can be cheaper. By all means, do that. If that's what works for you.
You like,
But there are so many ways to make your own and to make it so much better and to make it like exactly what you want. That's the part that excites me because like you can really make whatever you want out of trail mix. And it's like like you could live off trail mix out in the backcountry. I know I could anyway. Like I could eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love trail mix.
It's got the salty. It's just it's delicious. There's times where like Shawn, will be sitting at camp and you're like, I don't know if I could eat the rest of this meal. Like, cause every MRE ready to eat, dry, dehydrated meal is a 2-serving meal.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. Cause it's not like in the backcountry you're sharing.
Right.
But you feel like you have to eat the whole damn thing because where are you going to toss it?
Yeah. So then you'll be like
So,
stuffed beyond
right.
belief. And then
So,
two
but
minutes
Sean will be
later, I'm
sitting
digging
there.
into my trail
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if I can finish it, blah, blah. I'm so full. And then he finishes it and starts putting it away and everything. And then he's 2 minutes later, he's digging into his trail mix. I'm like, what the hell happened?
And like literally 2 minutes later, I don't know what you know what it is. It's the salty. Like that
Hmm.
is what get like I love salt. Like
Yep.
probably to an unhealthy level. I love salt. And that's what so the trail mix that I make or you make and share with me is like the right amount of salty for me and it
It's
like hits that.
Salt is almost the main ingredient of that.
Yeah, right. I mean, that realistically, that is what I like about it. But like,
Yeah.
you make a great mix. Like the stuff that you put in there from trial and
Well, I
error over
appreciate
the
that.
last
Yeah.
few years, like it is a good mix. Like it's got,
Yeah.
well, so I guess before we tell everybody exactly what's in your secret recipe,
Yep.
let's go.
Yep.
I want to go through like, so these are the categories. I made categories for what like I think every good trail mix has, right? So I'm gonna run through the categories real quick. So every good trail
Okay.
mix, in my opinion, is gonna
Hmm.
have what I have called nuts and seeds. So
Okay.
both
Yep.
either some sort of nut seed, either or both, whatever.
I have
Um,
those labeled as energy boosters.
oh, see, okay, well, so our lists are gonna be a little bit different, but so we'll make it work. Okay, so you got your nuts and seeds. You've
Uh huh.
got for Sean. I want a dried fruit in there. So I've got that as
Okay.
a one.
Yep.
Then I want something sweet.
Okay.
Then I want something I don't know if it's savory, I don't know if it's salty, I don't know what the right word is to use for this category, but like that like salty, textury, like
Hmm.
that component. And then depending on whether you need it or not, this is like a sometimes like optional one, some sort of like grain in there.
Okay. Yep.
Just kind of for like some bulk and some
Hmm.
like extra bits to it. And that is one that we don't always do, but like I
Right.
do like that when it's in there.
From my research, I hadn't even thought of adding some of that stuff, but from researching this and looking that some people do put that in, I'm like, well, that's not a bad idea.
Well, like
So,
the one store bought one that I have that I really like, it has I think you just call them granola clusters. I don't know how they make a cluster out of the granola. I don't know what it is that binds it all together, but like, so the one mix that I buy from the store has those in it. But like, I've had trail mix that other people have made that has like Cheerios in it, or like little bits of like cereal cluster type things in it. So like that's
right.
I get when I say like whatever that category is, that's the
Well,
type
and
of
that can
stuff that
help
I'm
keep
thinking
the
about.
cost down too, because cereal's relatively inexpensive.
Well, I don't
You
know the
know,
last time you bought cereal, but no, sir,
well,
that is not
okay,
true.
okay. Well, you can get the knockoff
You can get
brand.
the knockoff brand, right? Because it's going in trail mix. It don't need to be name brand. But like, or even like, another one that's really good in there is like a honey nut Cheerio. Because then you get like
That's yeah.
sweet and
When you
grain.
mentioned Cheerios, I was
Yeah,
like, I would go for a honey nut
yeah,
Cheerio in there. Yep, for
right.
sure.
But so like those are my main categories. So like when I'm talking nuts or seeds, right? Like you've got your love me some almonds, right? Like that's an option
Yep.
to throw a few almonds in there. The mix you make, you put cashews in there once in a while. I don't think you do every time, but you do once in a while throw
Well,
cashews in
I,
there.
I do every time that I can find them at a decent price because cashews are an expensive nut.
Yeah.
Um, but when I can find them at a reasonable price, I will put them in there because cashews are my favorite.
But
Like I
realistically, just like
love
some
cashews.
salted peanuts in there or some
Yeah.
honey roasted peanuts. Like,
Yep.
some sort of peanut. Peanuts are freaking cheap
Yeah.
usually. So, I mean, throw some of those in there. I've also had trail mix that has walnuts in it before, which is like a nice surprise
Hmm.
once in a while. But then, like in the same category, if we're getting more to the seed things, you got your sunflower seeds. You've got my personal favorite, a pumpkin
I
seed.
know you love your
I
pumpkin
love
seeds.
pumpkin seeds.
I like them out of the shell, but you like the shell and all.
Oh yeah, yeah. Prefer it with the shell. I mean, realistic.
Yeah.
That's where all the salt gets held on is in the shell.
Same with sunflower seeds. I get that, but I eat the. I guess you could probably do that with pumpkin seed. Just unshuck it, in your mouth like you do a sunflower seed.
I don't even know. Never. I've
Yeah.
literally
Then,
never
yeah.
tried. Don't even know how that would work. I mean, clearly, if you could buy like shelled pumpkin seeds, clearly there must be a way to get it out of the shell.
Right.
I always thought the entire thing, when I hear your pumpkin seeds, I think of it in the shell. I thought that was all one thing. I didn't realize that there was like, I didn't realize it was two
The
pieces.
the exoskeleton of the
Yeah.
of the seed.
Yeah. Right. Didn't realize that that was a thing. Like, and I'll be honest with you, my favorite type of pumpkin seeds, and I don't love saying the name. I feel like the name is maybe a little bit problematic, but like
Right.
if you listener have never had Indian brand salted pumpkin seeds. They're in like a red packet.
I thought it was Indian head or Indian.
It's
Is it
Indian.
just Indian?
Indian is the brand. The logo is
Okay.
like a Indian with like full headdress on.
Native
Um,
American, yeah.
Native American. Yes, I mean the name is
I
Indian.
know, yeah.
It is First
I'll have to look
Nations.
into that because I do wonder if they keep that name if it is indigenous that's the creators of it. If it's not just a
I don't know. I
yeah,
feel
that's why I say I would like to look into that
like
and
as a white guy, I feel weird saying that
saying it.
name,
Yeah,
but they are my favorite pumpkin seeds, so I continue to buy
right,
them because
right.
they're so salty and so good. So like throw some of them
Nothing
in the mix.
compares.
Truly, like we would get them as kids. It's a little bit nostalgic for me to buy them, but really, there's
Yeah.
just like I have never had a pumpkin seed that's nearly as good as those.
The last batch that I made that had pumpkin seeds in it were unfortunately just Meyer brand out of the shell pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, I mean, still
But
good, still
still
good,
good.
and way better, in my opinion, way better than a what's the other seed? Sesame seed, not sesame seed. Uh,
Sunflower.
That's the one. Sunflower seed. Way better than
See,
a sunflower seed.
sunflower seeds are my jam.
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't love them.
I would just take a bag of sunflower seeds. I prefer sunflower seeds in the shell like you. I don't eat the shell. I shuck them, it's just like baseball players, you spit them out and all that stuff. But problematic out on the trail because sunflower seeds aren't naturally found out in the woods usually.
Exactly. I mean, that gets into a
And
whole other thing.
so I don't like to spit the shells out on the ground where potentially some animal that's not used to that in their digestive tract
Right.
or wreaking havoc
I mean,
on a
that's the
population
leave
of
no
things.
trace,
So,
pack in, pack out,
right,
like that whole thing. I mean, we could talk for hours about that, but
right.
I think we did have an entire episode about it, so we probably did talk for hours about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. For my money, sunflower seeds, like one of the most overrated things. I just don't get it. I know they're
Yeah.
everywhere and people love them. I don't get it. It's not my jam.
Well, we had a friend that used to make them, and they were delicious too. Like every Halloween when they were carving pumpkins, doing whatever, she would save everybody's seeds
Oh,
and make
I've
her
thought
own.
about it. I have
Yep.
certainly thought. I mean, it seems like a lot of work. Let's be honest, but I've thought about doing it because yeah, delicious. So yeah, so those are the things in that category that you can choose from.
Yep. Yep.
And then I'm going to go on to this one. You're probably not going to have a lot to say about because you've already said you don't like dried fruit. But like your dried fruit,
Right.
tons of
Yep.
options these days. You can get raisins. You can get craisins. You can get dried apricots. You can
What
get
is a craisin? You've mentioned that twice now. I don't even know what a craisin is.
it's a cranberry that's so
Dried.
it's a dried cranberry.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it looks like a raisin, but it's cranberry.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's
Because dried cranberries is on my list.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
realistically, craisins might be trademarked. I mean, that might be owned by
Oh,
Dole or something. I don't know that. I mean, it could
yeah.
be. I just in my head they're craisins.
Right.
But yes, dried cranberries is probably the
Gotcha.
generic
Okay.
term for it.
Yep.
You got your banana chips. You've got dried
Mhm.
apples you can throw in there if you wanted to. Like really any fruit that you want to dehydrate or buy dehydrated, throw it in there.
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
Absolutely.
Great way to get,
Th-
a little bit of sugars back into you. You get a little bit of
mhm.
that sweetness from, fruit's typically pretty sweet, and then you dehydrate it, makes it sweet.
Yep.
Lots of options. The more the merrier. You make a whole fruit salad into your trail mix. All good options. And so then from there you get into your sweet. And this is where Mike and I both have strong opinions on the sweet stuff. So you're basically looking for something chocolate, right? Like when we say
Right.
sweet, realistically, we're talking chocolate.
Yep.
Here's the problem with chocolate. It melts.
Yep.
Pretty easily.
Yep.
Turns out like way easier than you would want it to.
Yeah, I mean, if it's out of the sun, but it's still in your pack and your pack's heating up because you're sweating and causing all this body heat to go through it, your chocolate's melting.
Yeah.
Hate to say it. It's just gonna melt.
I mean, so the tried and true candy coated chocolates.
Yep.
M&Ms,
Without
let's be
mentioning name
honest.
brand. Yep.
It's M&Ms, but candy coated
Hey,
chocolates for the generics.
if they want
right?
to send us some candies, then I'm all
by all
about it.
means, yes. I mean, realistically, that's great for a trail mix because the candy coating don't melt as easy as the chocolate does.
Yeah.
So I agree, it's not the best chocolate to put in there, but like convenience,
It gets the job done. Yeah.
It's there's a reason that's the popular one to have in there.
Right. It would. I didn't the last time, but I've thought about putting in the dark chocolate ones. At least it's a little bit better chocolate.
I know it's a little bit better chocolate. And does dark chocolate have a different melting point than regular chocolate? I wonder. Because I think white chocolate melts at a lower temperature than milk chocolate. And I almost wonder if dark chocolate... I don't know.
That is something to look into.
I'm kind of talking out of my ass here because I don't actually know the answer to that. But like, I wonder what the melting point of that is. Like, that might be a good option to fix some of that problem.
Yeah. Well, and my research did say that like dark chocolate offers more antioxidants than like a milk chocolate or anything like that. It's healthier.
I've heard that. I'm not really entirely sure what an antioxidant does.
It defies oxidants.
Right. Like, don't you want a lot of oxygen when you're on the trail?
I guess I don't know, but
right. I know. Everybody says dark chocolate is better for you than milk chocolate. I guess I take people's word for it because I don't really know how to know.
I think it just the milk chocolate has more sugar. Like it's more. It's because it's sweeter.
More sugar and less chocolate.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Because cacao. Again, not a doctor. I haven't researched chocolate or anything like that. But from my understanding and just you and me talking, I believe cacao, which is the main ingredient in chocolate, is actually a pretty healthy thing to consume.
Okay.
I think.
You know what else you can get that just popped into my head that might be good in trail mix? I'm not sure if it would or if it wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure you can get chocolate covered coffee beans.
Yes, espresso beans especially are amazing.
I definitely wonder if that wouldn't be delicious in a trail mix.
Yeah, they would be.
Okay, we'll put that on the list as like an optional one. Now, the other thing that I have had in trail mix that you probably won't like, Mike, but that I really like is related to chocolate, even though it's not chocolate in any way. You can get yogurt covered fruit, so like yogurt covered raisins or yogurt covered dried cranberries or like some of that sort of stuff. Also gives you like a sweet yumminess to it that I could see the time and a place for that.
Yeah, and that the yogurt doesn't melt, right?
I mean, I am sure that it does. I don't know.
Just don't know at what point.
I mean, because it's shelf stable, right? So I mean, it can be sitting out on a shelf and not melt. But like, if it got up to 90 degrees, would it melt? I guess I'm not entirely sure.
Right. Okay.
But that's another option. Like, if you're not a chocolate person, but you still want a sweet component, that might be an option to do. Like instead. Or if you like coconut, you could throw some coconut stuff in there because like coconut's super sweet, right? I know a lot of people are very mixed on whether they do or do not like coconut. So, clearly a personal preference thing.
Yeah,
but like,
I'm a no.
Yeah, see, I love
I'm
coconut.
A no on coconut.
I would eat coconut on damn near everything. But then, so then moving on from that category, you've got what I'm going to call our salty options, right? So those are going to be like your crackers or pretzel bites or I have never actually seen this, but it kept coming up in all the different, like, when you got to like weird trail mix stuff that I was looking into today. People put popcorn in their trail mix, which I don't know how I feel about that.
could see that because you're realistically sealing it in a little baggie, so it's not going to get too stale on you. And I mean, I love popcorn, so a little bit of staleness in popcorn isn't going to stop me from eating it. I
Well,
don't know how I feel about that either, though.
and I
I
then
mean,
I
I
got to thinking
love
about like,
popcorn.
okay, so even if you don't do regular popcorn, they do make like caramel corn or cheesy
Yeah,
popcorn or whatever that you
yeah.
could throw in there, and it's like, okay, I might be into that.
Now, the caveat on the caramel corn is when it heats up, it's going to get melty and
Well, so
sticky.
I know, so that's the thing. I mean, the cheesy one wouldn't though. Like the cheesy
The
one should
cheesy
be good to
one
go,
wouldn't,
and I
but
love me some
then
cheese
I'm going to
popcorn.
want to lick my fingers with the cheesy mess, and I've been in the backcountry not washing my hands.
Okay, but what if you hand sanitized before you
True.
started
Okay.
eating it?
Okay. Yep.
Would
Yep.
that
Okay.
make a
Which
difference to
which
you?
I should do
Which you
anyway
should
when
do
I'm eating.
anyway. Or hear me out, dump it right out of the bag into your mouth, and
There you go.
then you don't got to
There
lick
you
your
go.
fingers.
There you go.
I mean, because I'm going to get into, like, I have a whole different, like, once we get done
'Cause,
talking about the ingredients, I got different ways that you can carry it with you.
like a good Chicago blend of popcorn, that is my jam.
Oh,
So
Chicago blend popcorn
yeah,
is the best blend.
yeah.
Fight me
So
about it.
I mean, maybe we just start taking that.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I'll be honest with you. In addition to trail mix, not
Right.
in
In
lieu
addition
of
to
trail mix.
right,
Yes.
have options of snacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into it. Okay. Write that down. Because
Write that down.
that's going on the camping list next year. But yeah, I mean, or you could
So
throw like other things like I've had trail mix before, and this gets borderline like Chex Mixy, but like people throw like oyster crackers and stuff in their trail mix. Like you can get like
well,
little
I mean, you
cracker
mentioned
things in there.
crackers or stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
like I mean, those little things, throw a little. You know, you're not gonna throw a giant saltine in there, but you know, you get little crackers or something in there.
Right, little soup crackers or whatever.
Yeah, little soup crackers, not so bad.
Yep.
And then like the optional one that I mentioned is like your, you know, we kind of talked about it already. It's like your cereal pieces, your granola clusters, your oats, anything like that. But like even, you know, Chex cereal, like it works good in Chex Mix. It would work good in trail mix. You know, it depends on what you want. So anyway, take all those different options
and blend them together.
Mix them together.
Yep.
Trail mix, baby.
Yep. Well, so another thing that I read is an optional thing is some people will, and I don't, but some people will add like spices like cinnamon or cayenne pepper or sea salt, something like that, just to add a little bit of different flavor to it.
So I read that too, and I was trying to think whether or not I had ever actually had anything like that before. And I do think once upon a time, a couple of years ago for one of our trips, I got like I think it was marketed as like a breakfast trail mix. And it was a little bit cinnamony. And so it was more of like your fruits. I think it might have had like some yogurt covered fruit in there. But then it had like those granola clusters in it. Probably a couple other things too. But like it really wasn't heavy on the nuts and it really wasn't heavy on the salty. But I'm pretty sure it had some cinnamon flavor mixed in with it.
See, in my opinion, that would cut down on the salt. So,
right,
I know.
So you can take multiple. You know, you can have a morning and an afternoon and an evening version. Nobody's saying you can't take multiple kinds. Trail mix is for everybody, friend, and you can have it for every meal of the day. It will sustain you while you're on the trail. It is like the best part about hiking.
yeah, it really is. You just sit and enjoy it. What you take a break, you grab your trail mix. You get to camp, you grab your trail mix. You sit around the fire, you grab your trail mix.
And here's the thing. Now,
it's your comfort food.
As not a nutritionist, I can tell you, it's also good for you. I mean,
it is.
It is good for you. I mean, it's got your proteins. It's going to get you some of that salt back in your body. Like, let's be honest. We've talked about how much you sweat while you're out hiking, generally speaking. You need some of that salty put back into you. You need some of that sugars put back into you. You need some of that protein put back in you. What does trail mix have?
You need some of the calories.
You need some of the calories. And guess what? Trail mix has it all, friend. You get all of it with your trail mix. So it is like a superfood. It's like a superfood. I'm putting it in the category of superfood. But no, it's got proteins, it's got fats, it's got carbohydrates, it's got sugar, it's what your body craves. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's got all the
It
things.
it it really does hit like every spot. It really does. It's weird. It's delicious, but it hits every damn spot.
It hits every spot. So I put together a list of a couple of different like suggested mixes
Hmm.
that you could make. So just to run
Okay.
through some of them with the listener, you've got your classic trail mix. And so that's going to be like almonds, peanuts, raisins, chocolate pieces, and pretzels. And I say chocolate pieces because traditionally I think it's your M&Ms, but really as long as it's a piece of chocolate,
Or whatever their
or
candy
candy
coated
coated
chocolate.
chocolates,
Yeah.
whatever they are. Yeah. Um, you've also got a tropical mix that you can do, which this is one that
Hmm.
I, full disclosure, bought some of this at a store and now make my own because I don't want to pay for it at the store because this is kind of a pricier one, but it's called a tropical trail mix. So that one's gonna have your cashews. It's gonna have dried mango. It's gonna have dried pineapple chunks in it. It's gonna
Mm.
have macadamia nuts, which are a tropical nut, and it's gonna have coconut flakes in there. That one is freaking delicious. Let me just tell you, it is expensive, but that one
You
is
you lost me
delicious.
after cashews.
Well, and that's very fruit heavy too. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you're not so much into the fruit heavy, but like, I have said before, when you're out there, sometimes you're eating these dehydrated meals all the time, right? And like your body just starts craving something that's not just like a rehydrated, dehydrated meal. And I understand that this fruit is dehydrated also, but like it almost feels like there's some moisture or freshness to that. Like, even though it's a dried, dehydrated fruit, it feels like there's some freshness to it.
Well,
So
and it's a different texture, and just a different. It's a different dehydrated.
it is a different dehydrated. So like it takes it, you're still going to be sick of your dehydrated, rehydrated food. Don't get me wrong, but like it gives you some of that fruit. Get some freshness back in your life. Um, or the other one that I really like is they call it the sweet and salty mix. It's got your salted peanuts, a yogurt covered raisin, some mini chocolate covered pretzels. Love
Now
those.
that sounds good.
I also read some brands will also include popcorn in that mix. I've never personally seen that. Like today is literally the first time I have ever heard of popcorn being in trail mix.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a regional thing, or maybe it's a country, differences in country thing. I don't really know. Where we're at here
not,
in the Midwest, I have never seen popcorn in trail mix.
not to name drop, not to name drop, but I do remember, and this is a store bought thing, and it has a lot of bare chocolate pieces because it is Reese's brand. But I do remember there being a Reese's mix that was peanut butter cups, Reese's uh, drizzled pretzels, Reese's drizzled popcorn. Like it was a mix of just Reese's stuff with different textures, and it was amazing.
Are you working for
So,
Reese's now? Is that what's going on?
well, I'm just trying to get free stuff.
But oh, yes, by all means, Reese's. If you would like to send us a sample of your mixture to try out on the trail, twist my arm. I am sure I could be convinced to try it out on the trail. I mean, realistically, as delicious as that sounds, it also sounds like it's going to melt the minute the temperature gets warm.
Yeah. Well, even just eating it at your house and everything, room temperature, that drizzle and everything gets with when you pick it up in your hands. It's definitely not a melt in your mouth, not in your hands type of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the other mix that I wanted to share, like just as a recipe sample for people, is like I know a lot, like the keto diet's a big thing, right? They do make like keto
Mhm.
trail mix, so that's going to be almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, coconut flakes, and then like a pinch of sea salt in there to get you like the salty, but
Mhm.
without the things that a keto diet won't let you have, like
Right.
the nuts and the carbs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that's an option too. But realistically, those are just a couple of samples of things you can make. take any or all the things that we've said and mix it all together, I'm guessing it's going to be delicious.
I'm sure. I mean, aside from the fruit, yeah,
I'm
it's going
saying
to be
including the
delicious.
fruit. You are saying aside from the fruit. I'm saying including the fruit.
Okay.
Now, here's something that Mike does for us that I think is a great idea. And really, he started doing this after our first trip when we took 5 pounds of trail mix, maybe 5 pounds a piece, because we thought we were going to be starving to death.
Right.
Mike now portions everything out into like miniature sized Ziploc baggies.
Yeah, they're the portion control snack Ziploc baggies. They're like a mini sandwich bag or half a
They're like a
sandwich
half
bag type
sandwich
thing.
bag,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have started doing that. I think that is a great idea. It does keep you from eating like handfuls and handfuls and handfuls all at one time. So,
I started doing that because some of the pockets that I like to keep it in my pack will only fit that much anyway. So that's the main reason. It just fits in your pack better.
it does fit in your pack better. I also find that it keeps me from eating handfuls and handfuls and
True.
handfuls.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, it's a twofer, right? So it fits in your pack
Right.
better and it keeps you from
Well, because the first trip we
overindulging.
took, we mentioned before, I think we both took 2 1-gallon baggies
Mm-hmm.
of it, and we barely got through half of 1-gallon baggie. So I started portioning it a little bit smaller, and now that I read through some recommendations on portions and things like that, and now I feel like we are starting to portion it the right way. But
Yeah, I know.
I know
I mean, standing here today, I still think, like, yeah, I don't think 2 little miniature sandwich baggies is going to
is
be enough
enough.
for a 4-day trip. It typically is.
Yeah,
But yeah, standing here right now,
it
I'm like,
just
there's no
doesn't.
way that's enough.
Well, I feel like just sitting at the like we take a 5 minute break. I feel like I'm going to go through one of those sandwich baggies things on a 5 minute
100%.
break. You're really not, but yeah, I feel like I'm going to.
Right.
Sitting here right now.
Now, here's the other thing that I do want to say about trail mix. So, like, we've talked about the chocolate melting and it melting all your stuff together, which
Yep.
is a thing. Turns out it still tastes the same. So, as long as it firms back up,
Right.
if it's 90 degrees during the day, when it gets down to 70 at night and you can wait until it cools back off and recongeals, not a big deal. But there are ways to take trail mix and make trail mix bars out of them. Like if you don't want the messiness of having like loose trail mix, there's ways to do that. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. I know people that have done it. That makes it sound like I'm making that up, but I really do know people that have made these. My understanding is you use some sort of honey or nut butter or somehow, and like, I don't know if you bake it. I don't know exactly how you do it, but there is a way to mix that with like a nut
To where it
butter
all sticks
or
together.
something where it makes, not only does it stick together, but it makes like an actual bar out of it. Like
I'd be interested in looking into that.
think of like a Nature Valley type bar, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a way to make a bar out of it so that you don't just have like loose stuff.
Right.
I'm not sure whether I need that. I mean,
Right.
I'm perfectly fine just grabbing a few pieces and chucking them in my mouth.
Although having the nutrition of honey or something like that in there too wouldn't be the worst thing.
Well, and the
I know
sweetness
you're
of
not
it.
a honey.
I
You're not
like
a honey fan,
enough.
but
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not gonna go out of my way to have honey. But like, I had honey on my dinner tonight, so like,
yeah.
I'll eat
So
it.
that would
So
be yeah. I'd look into that because I love honey, so I would maybe look into that.
yeah, but so anyway, so there's a way to do it. Is I guess what I'm trying to get to is like if you want more of a bar, you like all the stuff in trail mix, but you want more of a bar to eat versus having like loose stuff. There is a way to do it. I am sure a quick Google search will tell you how to do it. Or they make pre-made stuff at the store. You can go get a pre-made one at the store. You know what I mean?
Get your protein bars or your nut bars or whatever they are. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, just the big thing have fun with it. Have
Hmm.
get what you like. And if you want something that we haven't listed, turns out you can still call it trail mix. You know what I'm saying? Like you got
Well,
a different
right.
type of nut you want in there, or you want a different type of cereal in there, or you want you know what? One of my favorite parts of Chex Mix is those little, I don't even know what they're called. Like, are they rye chips or I don't know even know what they are. They're like a brown chip thing that's in Chex Mix. I bet you could toss that into
Yep.
a trail mix,
Oh yeah.
and it'd still
Yep.
be delicious. And like you were saying, try some seasonings. Throw some garlic
Yep.
powder in there, or some seasoned salt, or if you like cinnamon, throw some cinnamon in there.
Hmm.
Whatever your seasoning of choice is, throw some of that in there. Spice it up a little bit. You know what you could do? This one, I saw this one, and you could do this. Throw some ranch seasoning in there. Mix it up.
No.
Toss it
I know
around.
it's a very anti-Midwestern thing to say, but I don't like
That
ranch
is a
seasoning.
very non-Midwestern thing to say. But yeah, throw some ranch seasoning powder in there, shake it up in the little baggie. You got ranch seasoned trail mix. The other thing you can do, if if you want a bunch of protein, is you can throw chickpeas in there. So you can like roast chickpeas to make them
Hmm.
like crunchy. They almost turn into like almost kind of like a crouton type thing. Throw some seasoning on them, put them in the oven, bake them till they're crunchy. Throw that into your trail mix. That's a great way to get a bunch of protein too. Um, you
I
know,
feel like we're turning into the great outdoors baking show or something like.
man, I'm telling you what, if somebody would pay me to do nothing but make trail mix all day long, I feel like that would be the dream job. I love trail mix. I know I sound way too excited about it,
Gold
but
Planet cars or whatever brand make the different trail
right.
mixes.
But I'm telling you, like it is. I have said before, I think it was on like one of our first episodes, you were making fun of me for it because of taking 5 gallons of trail mix on our first trip. But like, I never put two and two together that trail mix was called trail mix because you're supposed to eat it out on the trail. Like, I never put two and two together
Right.
until we started hiking. And
Because it replenishes you out on the trail.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Totally makes sense. I don't know why it never like clicked in my head that that's why it was called trail mix, but it totally makes sense. And it
Yep.
really is a great snack for out on the trail because it has
Hmm.
everything. This
Yeah.
mix has everything.
I mean, the stuff I make doesn't have everything, but it has enough to get me by. So,
You know what? But it does though. Like, so it might not be heavy on the fruit, but you get your sweetness from the chocolate.
yeah.
Like so it's got the different textures in it. It's like the stuff you make.
Yeah.
It's not all just like all crunchy stuff, right? You put your peanut butter cups or your
Yep.
candy coated chocolate pieces or whatever in there, and like do get a different texture with all that. And that realistically, that's what you want when you're out there. Is you want a little texture
Right.
variation, some salty, some sweet. So yeah, is your mix like perfect for everybody? No, probably not, but it's damn good.
It works for me, and apparently it works for you. So,
It gets me
because I
jazzed
really
up.
like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have anything other than if you wanted to talk about what I put in ours, we can do that.
Yeah, tell people what you put in
Since it,
yours. I mean, that's like the Shawn and Mike version of trail mix. What's in the Shawn and
right.
Mike trail mix version?
So I start with some salted peanuts. I might do dry roasted next time because I also do salted cashews. So I'm heavy on the nuts because I also do some almonds. Uh,
I
'Cause
do like me some
I
nuts.
yep. So I do those, and I just buy I don't know, I don't know what the if it's a pound or however much it is, just the store bought baggie of each. It's not a full can or tin of each. It's just a baggie of them. I go for some seeds. I do pumpkin seeds for Sean and sunflower seeds for me. I haven't done any granola or cereal, but as we've been talking, I've been thinking, so the next mix might be a little bit different. Um,
You know what kind of
um,
cereal I think would be good in there too? Sorry, not to interrupt your
yeah.
recipe, but frosted mini wheats.
See, I was thinking frosted mini wheats might not be bad, but I was because we were talking about the Cheerios thing. They make frosted Cheerios, and they
Okay,
also make honey nut Cheerios. I was thinking about mixing some of those in
I
there,
do like me a
but
honey nut
mini
Cheerio.
wheats. mini wheats to me might be a little too stringy without milk and everything. Like it might
I
just
don't
be a little
I don't think so because I used to buy boxes of mini wheats and just snack on them.
just eat them. Okay,
Yeah.
I might try it. We could try some.
Okay.
Um, that because I would add some sweet too with that frosting on it. Um, I do throw in some M&Ms, just regular M&Ms. I might try the dark chocolates, but I also throw in Reese's Pieces for the peanut butter
There it
in
is.
there. So to get away from I don't do peanut butter cups to get away from the melting and all
Yeah.
that. So it's a candy coated peanut butter. Um, I also do. I was doing pretzel sticks, but I found that they would sometimes poke through the baggies.
Yes, they would.
So, I don't remember the brand, but I think most brands now make them, but they make peanut butter balls.
Yep.
So they're little, tiny little bite-sized little
Not
peanut butter
peanut
balls
not peanut butter balls, pretzel balls.
or pretzel balls. Sorry, yes, yeah, but pretzel balls. And I buy the regular salted, and then I also throw in a bag of buttered pretzel balls.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Yep. So I do that. And then that is pretty much it. I throw it in a giant mixing bowl and stir like crazy and make the mix and then I portion it out. And I actually from our last trip I still have some in that mixing bowl that I snack on from time to time.
I don't know why you haven't shared that with me.
I probably could.
But yeah, I mean,
So
realistically, have fun with it. Make whatever you want. Put whatever you want in it.
yeah.
And if your trail mix is made up of entirely stuff that we haven't even mentioned here today, if there's
Right.
stuff that you put in there and you still call it trail mix, by all means, let us know. You can let us know in a multitude of ways. You can email us on our email, which is ShawnMikeHike@gmail.com. You could reach out to us on all of our socials, which is at Shawn Mike Hike on pretty much everything. Or you can reach us right through our website, which is ShawnMikeHike.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe anywhere you're listening to this podcast. Do you have anything else to go over before we sign off, Mike?
No, go take a hike and take some trail mix with you.
Yeah, go take a hike, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
See ya.